Okay, so hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be able to present to you all today. My name is Deliv and I'm a fourth-year medical student in NUIG. And not this summer, but the summer before, I was lucky enough to be able to work with some of the team at ESI, or Evidence Synthesis Ireland at NUIG, on a research and development project titled Development of a Video-Based Evidence Synthesis Knowledge Translation Resource, Applying a User-Centered Approach. And although the title may seem a little confusing at first, it just means the development of a video-based resource, so a spoken animated video in our case, or SAV as we refer to it in the paper, with the purpose of acting as a knowledge translation resource in the realm of medical literature for the general population. And we said that instead of the research team developing the video aimed at this audience and having to sort of guess what the said audience would find useful and understand easily, that we would actually involve them at various critical decision-making points in the development of the resource, so they can guide and shape it into their needs by providing crucial feedback, critique, and advice to the research team. And that's the user-centered approach aspect. Okay, so onto the background and introduction. How and why did this project sort of come about? So it stemmed from these three axiom statements. The first being that people of all ages and walks of life are bombarded constantly and consistently with health claims from an array of sources on a near daily basis. It's very evident that through all modalities of media and certainly the internet as a whole, there's no shortage of health claims, health products, advertisements, or health advice, all of which seem to be backed by, or claim to be backed by, the highest quality of evidence. And I think this rings especially true in today's climate regarding information on treatment and vaccinations and so on. It is also a given that an understanding of evidence synthesis is important for anyone to make a fully informed health decision. Just like in the daily practice of medicine, a patient is unable to fully consent to any procedure until they are educated on its intricacies. They are likewise unable to make a decision regarding their health in good faith until they are well informed with information backed by a high level of evidence synthesis. And importantly, this information needs to be at a level that they're able to comprehend and subsequently utilize. Addition to all this is the fact that although the use of knowledge translation resources is increasing, their development is often poorly documented. So this study aimed to simultaneously develop the video resource and also accurately document the pathway of development. Knowledge translation efforts have predominantly focused on increasing awareness and understanding among targeted populations regarding specific clinical topics, disease areas, and potential treatments, rather than explaining methodological aspects of healthcare research that are relevant to the general public, such as in our case, the importance of evidence synthesis. Thus, the overall aim of this study was to develop a spoken animated video to explain evidence synthesis and its importance to a public audience by applying a user-centered approach, drawing on cycles of feedback from members of the public to create a useful, usable, understandable, credible, and desirable resource. Okay, so that brings me swiftly onto the actual beginnings of the developmental journey for this SAV. As we knew, we would need multiple rounds of user testing, and as this was a fairly short-term project considering the workload, we decided on 2 rounds of iterative user testing, and I will show a graphic of this pathway depicting these rounds on the next slide. To get a draft of the script for the video underway, we utilized the knowledge and experience of 6 researchers from all over the world, including the UK, Norway, Australia, and of course, Ireland. With their considerable expertise in evidence synthesis and knowledge translation, they gave input regarding the main messages of the SAV, ideas for dissemination of the resource, the potential barriers, and its desired impact. With the use of snowball sampling for each of the 2 rounds of user testing, we involved 7 members of the public with little to no knowledge of evidence synthesis, and 7 additional members for the second round of user testing. We made sure to have equal numbers of users in each of the 4 age groups for the 2 rounds of user testing, and as close to a 50-50 male to female split, also as can be seen in the table here. So this is the figure that shows a kind of a bird's eye overview of our cyclical methodology regarding the 2 rounds. Round 1 begins with the idea generation stage, where those evidence synthesis and knowledge translation experts that I mentioned determined what the focus of this SAV and the main key messages of the video would be. That then went on to prototyping of round 1, where those key messages were embedded into an initial storyboard and subsequently a rough script. The research stakeholders gave feedback on that version of the script, and we went into the first round of user testing with the 7 members of public. We used think aloud interviews with them where they were asked to read the script and to say in that moment what, if any, thoughts came to mind while reading. It was stressed that both positive and negative comments and even observations would be of great use as feedback. Think aloud interviews involve observing people as they engage with a prototype of a product and listening to them speak aloud any words in their mind as they engage. This allows for feedback to be honest, clear, and immediate. The think aloud interviews also allowed us to determine which animation style the users deemed best suited and most appealing for the deliverance of such information. The 4 options provided included some of the most popular and common animation styles, such as 2D vectoring, whiteboard animation, felt style, stop motion, and a paper cutout layered style. The majority of the participants voted on the felt style stop motion as the most pleasing and suitable. So this is what we adopted for the SAV. After the interviews, the members of the public completed a questionnaire, which was based on Morville's honeycomb model of user experience, which asked the participants to rate the prototype on a scale of 1 to 10 for specific facets of the framework. These being usefulness, desirability, accessibility, credibility, and usability. These facets on the periphery then dictate the overall value of this resource for the user. The questionnaire and interview focused on the most relevant aspects of this framework regarding our resource. Some features like usability were either irrelevant or redundant in the context of an animated video. Interviews and questionnaires were conducted by me in person or via telephone, depending on individual preference. This was pre-COVID times, so that was a good thing for us. So the final step of round 1 was the analysis and refinement of the feedback, critique, and advice gotten from the Think Aloud interviews. It was assimilated and compiled into usable data, grouping positive and negative feedback and similar comments from the various interviews and grading the feedback by severity. This brings us to round 2, where using the analyzed feedback, a more complex prototype is generated of the actual SAV with primitive animations and graphics so as to remain flexible for the changes required to be made from the second round of user testing. This prototype was then played for the second group of 7 members of the public in similar Think Aloud plus questionnaire interviews, and the feedback was collected and assimilated. This was then used in the final stage of development to refine and finalize the SAV. And that then gave us the final version of the SAV, a 3.5-minute video animation that members of the public rated 9 out of 10 for usefulness, 8 out of 10 for desirability, 8 out of 10 for clarity, and 9 out of 10 for credibility. It was rendered and uploaded on all relevant social media platforms of Evidence Synthesis Ireland and Cochrane Ireland, amassing a total of over 5,500 views to date. So just a few words on the discussion of this project. While there are obvious benefits to using social media and online resources for mass communication of health information, such tools are typically unregulated, and the information shared can be of varying quality and consistency. The recent COVID-19 pandemic has shown a spotlight on the twin issues of misinformation and disinformation, i.e. the inadvertent or deliberate and coordinated spread of misleading and false information, respectively. The severity of this situation has led to the coining of the new term infodemic by the World Health Organization as the overabundance of information and the rapid spread of misleading or fabricated news, images, and videos. Enabling public members to think critically about health claims is a crucial component in the fight to combat the effects of misinformation and disinformation. Moreover, understanding the value and relative importance of a single study on a topic compared to the synthesized body of evidence for a topic is a key part of this. Developing an online knowledge translation resource that explains evidence synthesis to a general public can leverage the advantages afforded by social media and be used to spread accurate and valid health information and help people make more informed health decisions. It was really an amazing experience to participate in the research and development of this project. And I think I can speak on behalf of the whole team and all the members when I say that we're very proud of what was come out of it at the end. And I actually just got news this morning that the video is also translated into German by some colleagues in Austria. So that's very good news. Thank you.